Throwing open the door to my room, I walked over to my desk. I tried and failed to ignore the bloody razor. Instead, I focused on one thing and one thing only. My drawer. I flung it open and looked through its contents. English homework, a Swiss Army knife, antacids, an old fork, gum wrapper. Ah, here it is. Laminated and everything. I began to read it over. It cradles me in its presence. I wish to never leave. The void's rosy complexion, and the raccoon. I choked back a gag. What is that? 3 now? 3 things I've turned a blind eye to. Just to keep living in my perfect wonderland. Let's go over these 3 things, shall we? Me and Monica's relationship, Yuri's stomach issue, which is definitely not IBS, and this. I grabbed her razor and threw it at my trash can. I missed, but I didn't care. I missed this. What's probably the most important issue of all. What a resume that is. 2 lives you've ruined. 3 aspects, just by being yourself. Yourself. A loser. A selfish fucking loser. You're a little too hard on yourself, bruh. I ran a hand through my hair. Why? 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 I fell to the floor. Why do I exist? Nothing I've ever done has done anyone any good. In fact, it's been quite the opposite. It's like I exist to cause harm. And I've been doing a pretty good job, it seems. I ran a hand through my hair and limply reached for that Swiss Army knife. It was a gift from my father. A pretty good one, even if pointless. I don't exactly need it, so it seems that we're the same in that regard. Pointless. We just exist just to exist. I flipped out the main blade. Well, there's one use to us. I looked at my wrists. We cause harm. I've always wondered why people harm themselves. And hell, I've been talking to someone that's been doing it for God knows how long. So there must be some point to it, right? Something about it. Something that makes it appealing. So I wonder. I put it to my wrist. Where's the fun? I love you, Hallie. I have for a while. I put pressure on the knife. That's just something I like to do when I order food at places. I sold my soul for a cupcake. I love you, Hallie, dummy. I have for a while. Love. Like. Dummy. Love. I accept your romantic confession. I dropped the knife. Yuri! I was back at the park. The happy place. The place where all of my struggles felt themselves melt away. Wait, is this Yuri's inner monologue now? Funny. Considering all I could feel was my struggles beating down on my head, endlessly attacking me. Well, see, now this time, it's not in italics, but it's clearly, like, from her perspective, right? Yeah, whatever. Along with, of course, my own psyche telling me how much of a failure I was. This place, this park, where we shared our first date, where we really connected, where I made the vow. Some fucking vow. Yuri! I groaned. I could feel my stamina waning. Okay, maybe we are MC. I stopped and breathed heavily. Where could she be? I can't. Wait. Her spot. Her secret reading spot. I moved the hair out of my eyes and began to run. I stepped into a divot and nearly lost my footing. But I carried on. As soon as I began to hear crying, I knew I had come to the right place. Now, where is Yuri? Her exposed arm was covered head to toe in fresh cuts. I didn't mean to go this far. I walked up to her and got on my knee. Yuri, it's okay. No, it isn't. It's not okay. It's not okay. She began to shake and cry harder. 2 girls I've made cry today. Cool. I shook my head. I took a step towards Yuri and she flinched. I got closer and before she could back away again, I grabbed her arm. Or at least her elbow. It was the only place I could see that wasn't all jacked up. I began to look it over. The thing was practically torn to pieces. I grabbed a nearby knife and threw it far away. Yuri didn't fight me on it, so I doubt it was one of her special knives. I turned back to the cuts, and for the 3rd time that night had to hold back my puke. I couldn't do it here. It was not the time. Yuri needed me. I turned to her and looked her in the eyes. I decided to come out swinging. How long has this been going on, Yuri? She hesitated, but answered. 5 years. I did a double take, until I looked back at her arms. Past the current cuts, I could see layers upon layers of scarring. That made sense. I sighed and sat down next to her. I still held on to her, but now I was cuddled up next to her. Why, Yuri? She whimpered. Please tell me. I know it'll be hard, but I have to know. I let go of her arm and grabbed her hand instead. I can't tell you. You'll think I'm weird, and you'll hate me forever, and... Never in a million years will I hate you, Yuri. I squeezed. I just can't believe that. She began to cry more. Please, Yuri, you have to trust me. I can't. Why not? Because you went through my stuff. You found my blade because you were snooping. Her tone became accusatory, but I just took it. Don't retaliate. She doesn't need a fight. I was snooping, yes, and I shouldn't have. So I own up to that being my mistake. But I also don't care. You're the only thing I care about right now is you. So what if I was snooping? It helped me find the damn razor. It helped me... I clicked my tongue. Well, it's not helping me a lot, but it's helped me know what it is exactly you're going through. I squeezed her hand again. I'm fully ready to be here for you, Yuri. You just have to trust me enough to tell me why. But I'll just keep listening. And supporting you. And cherishing you. That's the plan, baby. She smiled. There it is. I moved a strand of hair out of her eyes and smiled. You're so much prettier when you're smiling. She giggled. So... She sighed. Okay, just please don't hate me. Never in my life. I use it as a way to control my emotions. When I feel sad, anxious, nervous, overly happy, overly sad and anxious, I cut. It gives you this rush, this feeling of pure euphoria. It's terrible, and it hurts, but the adrenaline felt so worth it. Adrenaline? How? Like when you're running? You've been on a roller coaster before, right? Yeah, but... Oh. She nodded. Like that. The rushes. The feeling of both fear and excitement. And it kind of resets your body. When it's all over, it calms down. Which is what gives me that feeling of control. She turned to face me. Do you get what I'm saying? I am lost in thought. So it's like a reset button. In a way, yes. A reset button for the emotional struggles, if I'm following you correctly. She nodded. Well, that's a new perspective, honestly. I didn't know it all worked that way. I knew it was kind of a physical pain to get rid of the emotional deal, but I didn't know it had that much to it. I see it differently. But I still have some questions. I'm sorry if this is too personal, but here goes. How did it start, Yuri? You said you have been doing it for a while, but what gave you the idea? Well, I read about it. I saw it in one of my books. A character, she did it the way I do it. As a way to escape her problems. Oh no. And normally, books don't influence me that much. But you see, at the time, I was still grieving for the death of my parents. Along with being bullied at school, having no friends, etc. I squeezed her hand. Basically, life sucked, Hallie. So I saw that and I tried it. I had a lot of knives, so it wasn't that hard of a task. At first it hurt. It hurt and I didn't like it. But I tried again. I tried again because I needed something. What did you need? I needed a way to... She sniffled. She was starting to cry again. I needed a way to control my spiraling life. I needed a way to control everything that was going wrong. Her voice cracked. Eventually, it worked. And that was the worst day of my life. It quickly became a habit. One I couldn't stop doing. Every time a major issue came up, cut. Every time a minor issue came up, cut.
Every time I met someone I knew, I was scratching my arms. It's horrible. And I hate it.
She wiped her eyes and chuckled darkly.
You know, it's funny. I got the habit from a book. One of the things I cherish the most in this world is what made my life a living hell.
I kissed her hand. I'm sorry you had to experience all of this, Yuri. Really? She sighed.
Do you think I'm a freak, Ellie?
I chuckled.
I'm not kidding.
I stopped. No, Yuri, I don't. Nothing about you makes me think you're a freak.
Don't lie. Ellie, look at me. Look at my body.
She ran a hand along her cut arm and winced.
I've destroyed it. A perfect vessel ruined. All because a little girl couldn't handle her emotions. Because a little girl couldn't put down the book she was so clearly too young to be reading.
Yuri, I interrupted, speaking softly. You're not a freak.
Yes, I am.
Yuri, this is where trusting me is going to have to come in again. Look, I have to word this carefully. Your methods are unorthodox, but you're not a freak.
But they're I'm so ugly.
No, you're not. You're not a freak and you're not ugly. You're beautiful.
You think the self-harm cuts all over my arms and legs are beautiful?
I didn't say that. I looked down at her arm and kissed it.
But you...
I don't think the cuts are beautiful. I think you're beautiful. Cuts be damned. This... I motioned at the cuts. This isn't healthy, Yuri. It's not safe. But it won't stop me from cherishing you. I like you for you, Yuri. Which means okay, how... It means I have to accept your flaws, too. And hell, half the stuff you view as flaws, I don't. Half the stuff that you hate is half the stuff that I adore. Because I adore you, Yuri. She sniffled. You're the light of my life, and nothing will ever change that. Because do I do it? Is this a good time?
But because of what?
Fuck it. Because I love you.
You love me.
I do. I love everything about you, Yuri. I love your sweet personality, your intelligence, your interests, your sense of humor, your shyness, your sharpness, your elegance, your beauty. Yuri, I'm crazy about you. And I know this confession is a little unrelated, but I just need you to know. I need you to know that you're not a freak. Because you're Yuri. You're the woman I love. Even if you were a freak, who cares? Because I'll love you anyway. I love you, Yuri. Do you hear me? I love you. I'll always be there for you. Through thick and thin. Because I love you. I'm cut off by something pressing into my lips. Once again, the girl's taken the initiative. There you go, you saw it. Damn it. But anyway, I heard the fireworks go off. It was happening. Like a scene from a movie, it was happening. All I felt was bliss. Pure, unadulterated bliss. Yuri's lips are soft, and though she's inexperienced, I can tell she's trying her best. I'm inexperienced too, though, so who cares? But this is just perfect. Even after everything that happened tonight, I feel like this made it all up. I made it in life. Everything was really going to be okay. Yuri pulled away and smiled.
I love you too, you weirdo.
She loves me back. This truly is perfect. We began kissing once more. After a few moments, we pulled back again.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I brought my hand down and accidentally touched her arm. She winced and I frowned. Look, let's get going, alright? Let's call an ambulance.
No.
I jumped slightly. No.
No. If you call an ambulance, they'll most definitely call my aunt. She can't know. Nobody can know.
Wait, she doesn't know?
No, she doesn't.
And what do you mean nobody can know? What about, like, a therapist or something?
Nobody can know.
Well, how about I just take you home and treat those then? Is that okay? She switched back.
I would love nothing more.
I smiled. Well, alright then. I kissed her on the cheek and stood up. I gave her my hand and she used it to stand up. And we began to walk back, hand in hand. Holy hell, what a night. In the bathroom, Yuri stared at her bandaged wrists. It was something she had done many times before, but this time it felt different. The bandages felt less dirty, less gross. She felt like she was less of a...
Like less of a freak.
The bandages, they felt like they meant something good. Instead of deceit and pain, they meant warmth and...
Love.
She felt giddy upon thinking about that. He loved her. She smiled. He loved her, he loved her, he loved...
Stop.
She looked in the mirror.
He loves you, but you need to deserve his love.
She grabbed her razor blades and an old toothbrush and tossed them in the garbage.
No more destroying your body. No more. No more destroying the person he loves. It'll be hard. I know it will. But he said he'll be there for me. Through thick and thin.
And she trusted him. She shut off the light and left the bathroom. She walked through the dark house and into the living room. It was pitch black, but she knew he was out there. Or out here, rather. He had given her the bed to sleep on. Very chivalrous. But she didn't care. She...
Hey, Hallie.
She needed something. Yeah? I said, slowly waking up. Damn, it's late.
Can you come sleep with me? I don't want to be alone. Not after what happened tonight.
Sure. How could I turn that down? I love cuddling with that woman. But I have to be cool. I walked up to her and put my arm around her. You want to sleep out here or in the bed?
Bed, please.
Sweet. We walked throughout the house and my hand around her waist. I was blushing furiously, of course, as was she, because we both knew what was coming, but we were both pretty damn happy about it. I opened up the door to my bedroom and walked over to the bed. Yuri climbed in first and I climbed in after. The blankets were cold, but I wrapped my arms around Yuri and instantly felt warm. Perfect. Yuri?
Yes.
I love you, and I always will.
I love you too.
She gave me a peck on the lips and held me tighter. Even if I have some shitty days here and there, life is pretty damn good. I slowly drifted to sleep. Chapter 7. Lovely Outing. My eyes fluttered open as I slowly awoke. I felt well rested, along with a very prominent warmth. Warmth and a strong sense of security. And God, if that wasn't one of the best things I had ever felt. Though, along with this warmth and security came a mouthful of purple hair and a nose full of coconut. Can't say I didn't like it, but what spurred it on? Was I the one that asked Yuri to go to bed with me, or did she? What happened yesterday that...
I love you. And I always will.
Right. I pulled my head away from Yuri's to get a good look at her. She was turned over, but she seemed to be sleeping peacefully. Good. I pulled up the blanket and looked at her arm. I pulled back her sleeve. Bandaged. So it seems that part wasn't a dream. Awesome. I put her sleeve back inside. That wasn't awesome if my sarcasm was not apparent enough. I put the blanket back down and focused my attention back on Yuri. I began to run a hand through her hair. Oh, Yuri, Yuri. I chuckled softly, but then frowned. What are we going to do about you? Last night she made it pretty clear that nobody can know. But that's ridiculous. Therapy is the best option for you. You can talk to a professional and get the help you need. But I can't force you to do anything. If you don't want to go to therapy, then it's completely off the table. But what then? If she doesn't want to get better, I will have to push her to try. But what if she does want to get better? Just without therapy? I can't make my own assumptions like that. I'm practically thinking about alternate universes here. I'll have to ask Yuri about her true thoughts. Maybe when she wakes up. But for now, I kissed Yuri on the head and held it. After a few seconds, I pulled back.